Hello and welcome to my review of the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest subscription, issue number 21. It will cost you £7.99. It does cost £7.99 a week, so it's £32 a month. For that money you get some miniatures nearly every week, but sometimes they give you paints and brushes, scenery and sprues of full kits like the Repulsor and the Dreadnought and the Plague Burst Crawler and so on. Anyway, this is a repeat, I say issue, this is a repeat set of miniatures. The Reivers were one of the first sets of miniatures that you got in issue 3, so 18 issues later you've now got another 3. I'm not a huge fan of them, particularly their legs, but I have posed mine differently than the initial 3 and we'll compare them later on in the review after we go through the size comparisons. So the issue itself then, 21. The Fangs attack, bit of a mini short story of Space Wolf Reivers, and some more Space Wolves. For some reason, Hellblaster War Gear, setting you up for more Hellblasters in the future, and a little focus of the different Hellblaster weapons. The different worlds, Mortarion. So nothing really to do with the Reivers, not that much to do with the Reivers, unfortunately. How to build the Reivers, so this is just duplicated there from issue 3. However, what isn't is the painting guide. So you've got a lot more colours at your disposal now. You can even put some red on the purity seals and you can fill out those death masks with the Rakarth flesh. Then there's a look at a tutorial for Corvon 2. It shows you some scenery that you haven't yet got, such as the tank traps, the pipeline and the Rise of Ruins. You'll get them later on in the subscription. A mission briefing for Corvon 2 Planetfall. Some core rules that I think you got with this issue too. Defend the drop site and counter attack. And then it shows you the next issues. So issue 22, I've already done the first look and the review because it is just a paint. I would have liked a different texture paint for bases. I'm not a big fan of grey anyway. And also you get a medium base brush. So that first look and review is just one video. But then in issue 23, which I haven't got yet, and it's 9th of March, I'm sure many people have already got it, you get some battlefield accessories, which I've never had those before, so that'll be interesting. Well, other than the barrels, that is. So that is the issue. Let's have a look at the models themselves. So as always, they were very easy to put together. They are easy to build kit. And what I did is I actually cut the pegs or the plugs off of the torsos of mine so that I could move the arms in any kind of way I wanted. The heads are quite good in that you can swivel them within the neck as well, so it gives you a bit more of an option. But what I wanted to do is just show you you know, the differences that you can sort of make. Like, you can see that the leg poses are the same, but I've got the Sergeant facing left on the new one, and I've got his blade, his combat blade, raised upwards a bit, and I've got his pistol raised upwards. So they don't look identical as such, and I think that's important, especially if you're getting duplicates in these sets. The Potswalkers are a bit difficult to change, and so are the Death Guard, Plague Marines, but at least with these Reivers, the Primaris stuff, you can change them a little bit. Moving on to this guy, I think it's this one. I couldn't really do an awful lot other than move the head and move the pistol a little bit, so I've changed him from the old one. And then finally, this Reiver with his pistol outstretched, I've now put his combat blade outstretched, and I like both the poses, but I think the pose actually works better for this one, rather than him moving his right foot pointing that way, but, you know, firing his pistol as he's sort of, you know, slowly walking along. I think this pose actually works better. Anyway, size comparison wise then, compared to some Death Guard models, there's a Potswalker. As you can see there, it's a Reiver, it's a Primaris Reiver, so completely dwarfs sort of a normal kind of Potswalker civilian type model. Compared to a Death Guard, Plague Marine, Death Guard is, I want to say, slightly a bit taller. Strange that, but yeah, definitely bloated and, you know, enlarged. And then compared to other Imperial models, so we've got a normal Space Marine, clearly, you know, head and shoulders above a standard Space Marine, and then even an Intercessor, they're exactly the same size, pretty much. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Primaris Reivers. You'll find them in your brand new 8th edition Space Marine Codex, well, it actually came out a year and a half ago now. They are in the Elites section, and they're a power points cost of a 5 and a match play points cost of 18 per model. Their bolt carbines, which they are typically armed with, are free. So is the heavy bolt pistol, and so are all the grenades. So that's just how much they cost, 18 per model. Now, they differ slightly from the Codex, because obviously none of these have the carbines, they all have the heavy bolt pistols. So I'll only go through the profiles for them. But their stat line reads: movement of 6 inches, weapon skill and ballistic skill of 3+, strength and toughness of 4, wounds 2, attacks 2, leadership 7, and a save of 3+. The Sergeant has 1 extra attack, so 3 attacks, and a leadership of an 8. Their heavy bolt pistol is a range of 12 inches, pistol 1, strength 4, AP -1, and a damage of 1. And their combat knife is just strength of the user, damage 1, and each time the bearer fights it can make 1 additional attack with the weapon. Obviously they have frag grenades, crack grenades, and shot grenades. So the frag grenades are range of 6 inches, grenade D6, strength 3, AP 0, and damage 1. Crack grenades are range 6 inches, grenade 1, strength 6, and AP -1, damage of D3. Now the shot grenades, they're the same range, 6 inches, grenade D3 though this time. They don't have a strength, AP, or damage because it doesn't inflict any damage. If an enemy infantry unit is hit by any shot grenades, it is stunned until the end of the turn. It cannot fire Overwatch, and your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls made for the unit. That's pretty useful. You know, just throw a shot grenade and then charge into combat. They can't do any of this Overwatch business. Of course, all models in the unit may replace their bolt carbine with a combat knife, hence these have. All models may take grav shoots. None of these can, because of the easy build kit. All models in the unit may take a grapnel launcher. So their abilities, I'll only go through the abilities for this unit. And they shall know no fear. Combat squads, that's if you've got 10 of them, you can reduce it down to 5. Terror troops, enemy units must subtract 1 from their leadership if they're within 3 inches of Reiver squads. And then there are a couple of other abilities which you would normally get if you had that war gear, which is the grapnel launchers and the grav shoots. Keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Infantry, Primaris, and Reiver squad. So I just want to compare them to Scouts for a moment. They have the same stat line, except they have 1 more wound and 1 more attack, and their save is better. So even though they've got this kind of Phobos armor, whatever you want to call it, they do get a 3+ save. So 3+ Scouts, but they're an elite choice. The problem with that is there's so many amazing things, units in the Elites section of the Space Marine Codex. It's so cram-packed with Terminators, Aggressors, Dreadnoughts, Vanguard, Sternguard, you name it. It's a very packed section. So unfortunately you can't pick this Reiver squad as a troop choice. It would be awesome if you could, and I think many people would pick them over the normal scouts. But of course the normal scout squad is much more flexible because they can have the shotguns, the missile launchers, heavy bolters, and sniper rifles, whereas these guys can't. Yes, I know that we've probably already had, by the time this video comes out, the Vanguard units and the Eliminators, which do have the sniper rifles with different ammunition, but at present in March, start of March, we haven't got those for the Reivers in the form of Eliminators or Vanguard. What do you guys think of the Reivers and the issue? Unfortunately it is a duplicate issue, but as long as we don't get like 10 duplicates it should be fine. There is enough difference between these and the ones I currently have so as not to look too similar, especially if you sort of colour his hair differently too, because I'm much more of a fan with these masks, these terror masks. It'd be great to hear your thoughts and opinions. Put it in the comments below as always. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.